Okay, so welcome to Mission One. Today is Mission One and the Fast Track Business Launcher. So, as we mentioned before, I'm Sabine Matharu. I'm your business startup and growth coach, and I love working with women, helping them to turn their passions into an income. And I'm very passionate about all things technology, strategy, and marketing. So this masterclass is all about helping you exactly achieve that. So 4 weeks, and you should have a really solid business foundation in place. I'm just going to give you a bit of overview. So week one, that is your mission one. So today we're going to talk about fast tracking your brand, because that's really the fundamental, that is the foundation. And we'll talk about do's and don'ts of creating personal brand messaging, visuals, how to identify your ideal customers, how to do market research to develop programs and services that really solve your ideal customers' needs and wants, and what online business models exist and how you can choose one that best works for you. So if you haven't chosen yet, or if you have, maybe you want to diversify, then obviously there are other ways that you can add an income stream. Week two will be then mission two. We're going to actually fast track your course creation and your sales funnels. So if you've never created a course before, or you just doing first one or second, we'll actually show you some shortcuts in terms of what tools to use, what to do, what not to do, and how you actually really can fast track this, because it can take a long time to think about the course and to pull it together, and then maybe no one's going to buy it. Okay, so we want to really fast track that. We can do this. If you wanted to do, you could do it in a weekend, or you could just do it live. So I'll talk about this in more detail, and then also how you could potentially have create some passive income funnel with a digital course. This is where we kind of start thinking about an evergreen course, which means, like, for example, this one I'm doing this live with a group of ladies, but now I'm going to record this and I can always sell it over and over again without me having to spend more time and energy actually delivering this course again. So we could be thinking about doing that as well. In week three, we'll be looking at fast tracking your list building. So basically, what is a list? A list is a list of people who are potentially buyers further down the line. Okay, so you want to create a list of high quality leads. And we want to also make sure we know how we can actually capture those leads. So that's when we're talking about simple sales funnels, and that your leads will actually go into an email list, and how you're going to create some of those emails. And then how to actually create content, because we have to nurture them, and why we want to do that. Fundamentally, why do you want to do that? Why do you just don't want to do this on social media or have a Facebook group? Why a list is actually a good asset to have, and also how we can write some compelling emails to make more sales from a current list and followers. So I have some email examples and some strategy, or some let's say some psychology around how you can actually warm up your leads and how you can convert them into sales. And then mission four will be about fast tracking your webinars. I think webinars are kind of a big part of launching, and I think we will be talking a bit more about launching and how you prepare for launches, and then how you're gonna do your presentations, like anything you like, your webinar, or if you're doing your courses, what kind of formats can you be using, master classes and live streams. And we also want to talk about what's the structure of a webinar, how much value do you give, when you're going to change over to some sales, how do you structure the sales, what are the sort of packages, the bundles that you can create, and maybe some call to actions around bonuses and things like this. So we'll actually go into some of that detail. Outline your online presentations for higher conversion rates, and how to fast track your webinar funnel to sell products and services. But it will all become clear in week four. So let's get started with mission one, which is fast tracking your brand. Now, this is great even though if you already have your brand, I would highly recommend you go back and you really think about it and really go and answer some of those questions, because I have done it over and over again. And every time I come up with a next level of growth. So whether you're starting from scratch or whether you already have a brand or you think you have a brand, go and do it anyway. This is the time to step back from your business and to reflect and really, going to really boost your business, because we're going to build even a stronger foundation. And sometimes, you have new insights which you weren't there before. So I would really encourage you to go through this. So in today's sessions, we're gonna talk about the do's and the don'ts of creating personal brand, including messaging and all the visuals, how to identify your ideal customers, and how to do market research so that you can develop those programs and services that really resolve your ideal customer needs and wants, and what online business models exist, and how to choose the one that really works best for you. Now, as you can imagine, I can only do that as so much in an hour workshop, and there is, I really picked the nuggets out for you so that you can go away and create something wonderful, right? Of course, there's much more detail, there may be questions, but as I said, I normally teach that in a 3 months mastermind in detail. So this is some of it you may have to go and research a little bit more, but I'm just giving you some really golden nuggets for you to be able to go away. So a personal brand is literally, it's a brand you build around your products and services, and it means that you are actually the star of your business. So like I am my brand, I am the star of my business. So whereas, like, for example, Coca-Cola, you don't know who is the person behind the company. It's just like a big brand, okay? And you see the brand messages and other people appearing on TV and that kind of stuff, right? So you would be starting off as like a solo entrepreneur, like a solopreneur as your own, and then starting with offering one-to-one services. So that's always a very, very easy way to get started. And then, at some point you may want to grow. You may, but you may not. Okay. So I'm not telling you, you have to have a team and stuff. Some entrepreneurs just want to have a simple life. They don't want to have lots of different team members and scale to multiple 6-7 figures, and that's absolutely okay. So if that is you, then absolutely fine. It's just some grow as they expand. Like I'm expanding with new ideas and new offers, so I naturally had to actually grow some team members myself too. So then all of a sudden, your brand continues to grow. So yeah, before we go into core values, what is a personal brand needs to have some core values, and that's why the next slide is actually showing this, because it's really essential to grow your business. It helps you to develop products and services, and it helps you to actually bring out your voice and the tone of voice. Depending who you are as a person, you want to really express that in your business. And this is why I think the next exercise will be actually to look at your core values. So here's quite a big list around core values, but obviously you can find a larger list if you Google it. Because every time you do a post on social media, every time you do a webinar, or when you create a course, then you will express somehow these core values. Like, for example, one of my core values is definitely family, but then I also have loyalty, for example. So I really always make sure in any program that I get to know my customers really well, and that I'm able, that I go back and look after them. So I'm very caring. So I guess family and caring, that actually goes together. So through that, it shows how the way I present, the way I approach things, and my values. And I guess even when I write about benefits on a social media post in terms of what are the benefits around a program, then I always talk about community and reaching for greatness and development. Okay, so that is my tone of voice, and that's why it's important. Okay, so the core values are here, and you will get this as a handout. So just go through those, or if you want to do some more extensive work, you can Google core values and maybe just pick out a couple. I think in the homework it will tell you. The homework says, where is it? The core values. I think it was 5. Yeah, we'll go through 5 core values that are most important to you and describe why. There will be a homework page at the end, so it will be summarized. Okay. So let's go over to the visual brand. So of course, once you have your core values, and if you haven't decided yet on the types of colors, there is a little color chart there. And because different colors mean different things, like blue is more tranquility, security, whereas yellow is bright and sunny, energetic. So you might want to think about what sort of colors do I resonate with? What kind of brand do I want to have? How do I want to express the transformation that I want to achieve? Okay, so for me, I always loved turquoise. So I have, I think, about 3 or 4 different colors that kind of match, that align. So I haven't chosen like turquoise and the green together. So I have it like turquoise and pink. So almost like an opposite as a balance. And then I also have some type of orange in there as well. So it talks about courage, confidence, friendliness, and success. So you can use this color chart and think about, okay, what kind of, because when we'll talk about banner creation for social media, it's always great to have some visuals, or when you create banners for your program or your landing pages, or even when you do an ebook, for example, you may want to think about different colors. So everything matches up, right? From now onwards, whatever colors you choose, make sure you kind of match up and you have like consistency. Like Coca-Cola, you just know when you see their writing and the red banner, you know what it is, okay? And that's what we need to achieve too. So then another component is the website and photos, and I just added on the bottom the banners bit. Now, I'm not advocating you actually need a fully blown website when you start a business. Actually, I thought I needed that, and that meant that I was procrastinating forever. And I kept saying to myself, I needed this extremely professional website where all my services are listed before I could ever go out there and present what I do. No is the answer. So don't worry about website. If you don't have one at the moment, that's fine. You can just start with a landing page, which I could show you on Get Response. It's a very simple targeted page where you maybe promote like a freebie. I even did sales pages on Get Response because I don't really know how to do the WordPress thing. I have a WordPress site, which obviously I had outsourced, but it's really easy just to create a very focused page if it is the one thing you want to promote. There is obviously other platforms out there, which I just put those here, WordPress and Wix. I kind of know about those, and some people might say, yeah, WordPress is really easy, and I'm sure it is once you set it up. Wix is very easy. I've used that. That's kind of drag and drop as well, so that's a good one. I can talk about landing pages and whole sales funnel on Get Response because I'm quite familiar with it. And of course, there are many other platforms like ClickFunnels you may have heard, or Lead Pages is another one, and there's all kinds of different autoresponders. Now, just to make it really simple, I'll just talk about what I know and how I apply it, and then I'm sure if you choose to use the same service, that's fine. You know, I'm not going to make any money out of you. I have an affiliate link somewhere, perhaps. But if you choose to use something else, then absolutely you might just have to set it up through, look at their support pages and work your way through. So that's the website stuff, okay? when you build a website or when you do social media, you will need some sort of stock photos. Well, you know, sometimes we don't know, we just take photos from other people. I don't know. Just be careful when you're using it for business, and when you use it for like book cover, for example. Like I had to really double, triple check that I had purchased the correct license, because once it goes on Amazon or on print and someone then says, hey, you know, you used my picture and you haven't paid for it, then I'm in trouble. So just make sure. There are some free kind of stock photo websites where you can download and just check the terms and conditions. So one is Pixabay, the one I use, which is a paid platform, is I think 123rf.com, and there's many others. We just Google it. There's just some examples, but I'm just making the point that make sure that when you're using it for commercial purposes, that you have an appropriate license. Now, photos. Again, there's no need to really have extremely professional pictures when you get started. It's nice to have because, as I said, you are your brand and you are the star of your company, and you want to show who you are. So it's good to have a photo shoot. I've had photo shoots. And just make sure, you know, you do a bit of background work or preparation before you appoint a photographer, because you want to have some really great pictures for your website and for your social media presence. Ideally, I think they're like kind of horizontal ones, so that, you know, if you make a banner, you have some space, you can put some writing, and if you're positioned maybe on one of the sides rather than in the center, it will actually give you some space to put like a speech bubble or a quote or something like this as well. So it's just things to consider. And yeah, I mean, nowadays, you know, on social media, people do their selfies, and some really get some great responses from selfies as well, because it shows their real personality. So, you know, the opinions actually are divided. But I guess if you want to use it for a proper sales page or a website, I think it would be advantageous to have some proper picture taken. It will also, you know, show your professionalism, and of course you don't want to come across as like, you know, someone who's just pulled this together very quickly, and then if you want to then offer like high level services, like high end services, the website and the look and feel of the brand will actually have to match with your prices as well. Okay, just something to remember. Now, if you want to put like banners and graphics together for social media, I can highly recommend canva.com. I use it all the time. Now, I have a confession to make. My husband is a graphic designer and he does amazing logos. He's done all my stuff. And of course, you know, when you want a logo, then you need someone really professional to actually do it. You can shortcut it on Fiverr, but I don't think you'll get a good result. But then I just use all my logos, and I actually uploaded into Canva. But he's been quite helpful to actually put some templates for me together, because literally every day I'm creating some other banner, so I can't keep on asking him to go and do something in Photoshop for me. So I am using Canva for those reasons. So it would be great if you do some sort of social media post, or you're thinking about, you know, a social media strategy, that you have some logo, or even if you don't have a logo yet, sometimes you might just want to have your signature, like a digital signature on the bottom of a picture. If you can sort of put that on the top as a sort of transparent graphics, that I think that would work well. Now, how to get it? I mean, I have one of these interactive boards where I actually wrote my signature, but maybe you can do some sort of mock-up online. It may be in Canva even. It may just not look like your real signature, but it's a starting point where you can sort of brand some of the images, or have some sort of template, or maybe shapes. So I use a lot of triangles, because Reach for Greatness, it's about a mountain and sort of a hand in the mountain. So I actually use triangles on my social media as well. So that really creates the brand awareness too. Okay, so that is all about website and photo stuff. Let's move on to your ideal customer. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these questions, but literally I want you to pick out some questions here and think, okay, so who really is my ideal customer? Because once you, and again, I had to go through this more than once. I had already run forwards and I already had programs, I already had done webinars, and then I went back and was like, well, hang on, something's not quite right. Something's not quite working with my message. So I had to go back and think again, who are my ideal customers? Okay, so literally ask yourself, why do you want to work with those people? Who do you serve? And all these are helpful. What life experiences do you want to bring to the table? So the more you can write about these things, the more juicy material you will have to actually put on a sales page later on, and maybe answers to those questions, maybe also things you might want to teach in your programs. Okay. What problems do you solve? Who are the people who typically have this kind of problem? Like, for example, I'm helping with, I solve the problem of like stress, like I de-stress people, for example. Okay, let's say. So you think, okay, who are the people who may be stressed? So they may be working in the corporate world. They may be chief executive directors. They may be living in London, or they're traveling in and out of London. Okay, so these are the kind of answers you might get if you're going through these questions. Okay. So these are not only typical, so some of it is like demographics. There are some typical questions like who is your ideal customer, but we're actually going very, very deep, especially on the second page, right? This is not even a level deeper. You know, how does this problem make them feel? What problem are they experiencing in relation to the service that you're offering? Why do they need the solution so badly? And how are you going really deep? You know, what makes them wake up at night and worry, worry about things that about health, or worry about money, for example. What will be their ideal solution to this problem? So this is now where you start thinking about, how can I offer something different that may not be in the market in that sense? Yeah, what will happen if they don't find that solution? Like, for example, with health, it could be detrimental, that they die early, that they won't be able to spend much time with their loved ones anymore, for example, right? It's really, really very, very severe kind of things potentially. What are your ideal customers' hopes, dreams, passions, and interests? These are excellent questions to get you not only be clear on who your customers are, but then also very clear, what is your message, what are you offering, and what are you going to offer to them in terms of a service or a program. Okay, so I'm going to move on, because that is your little homework to go through those questions. On top of that, I think questions doing in isolations, just these questions may not be the whole sort of picture. I think it would also be great, and it will also set you off to actually start to connect with your ideal customers, to interview potentially a minimum of 15 people to help you develop your products, services, and offerings, and to have real conversations with those people. Now, I realize this is not going to be done in 1 week until next week. It's part of the homework, and it could be like an ongoing process, but at least, kick-started, you could say, look, I'm going to speak to one person a day over the next 3 weeks, and then you will have had your 15 people. Just set yourself a start date, a goal, and an end date as well. Otherwise, you will never get to the 15. I will give you a bit of an insight how to ask for interviews and what to do as well. Okay, but it'll be like probably 6 questions you might want to ask them. If you want to do this, I have got a calendar link with you. There are 2 things. Calendly, that's a free tool you could use. I use Acuity scheduling. Basically, rather than going back and forwards and saying, hey, when is a good time for you to hop on a call with me kind of thing, you can say, look, I'll send you my diary. So they can actually choose from a slot, whatever slots are you got available. You can set that in your calendar, and then they can automatically book into your diary. It will send them a reminder email as well, at least Acuity scheduling does. I'm not quite sure how Calendly works. I'm not used that. Acuity actually is a paid option, but it's not a lot on a monthly basis. So it just helps with that. And I guess if you don't have that in place right now, and if you are, and I think you will be doing some more kind of calls, even if it's sales calls going forward, and you want people to book in time with you, I think it would be really wise to actually get either one of those two or another tool that actually does the same, that will really alleviate the headache of you trying to go back and forth and arrange a time. Now, I know with Acuity scheduling as well, which is a great thing, is actually has application form in the beginning. So you can choose your time slot, and then you can actually link it to a questionnaire. So you can really already ask some questions about their desire to work with you, or what budgets they have, or what their challenges are, and then see whether they are potentially the right fit before they hop on a call, or whether they're just looking for freebies, right? So it's another good thing that Acuity has. Yeah, and when you are asking for them to book onto your calendar, then you might want to ask for a name, a phone number, an email address. Phone number, I mean, it depends whether you're going to have a phone call, or you could suggest coming on a Zoom or somehow through Facebook. You want to connect somehow. And you want to book a call for 15 to 20 minutes. And just remember, you're not selling anything on the call. You're just asking questions, because you want to do some due diligence around, your ideal customers, what their challenges, and potentially what kind of services and offerings you could be creating with them in mind. Now, what are the kind of questions you could ask them once you got them on the call? You could ask them, what are you struggling with regards to whatever you do, okay? Whatever you help people with, okay? So what are you struggling with regards to building your business and making an income from home? So that could be an example of what I would ask. How long have you been struggling with not making an income from home, or not being able to scale your business? What have you tried to fix this? What worked, what didn't work? So there you'll get some insights around, perhaps they've already taken some courses, they've been working with another coach, and then they might tell you what they really liked about working with the other person, and what they didn't like, and what didn't work, and why. Have they worked with another service provider like you before? So what did they like about it? What did they dislike? Again, it will give you some great insights and intelligence around the competition. And in your dream world, would that problem, whatever it is that you do, be solved for you? What would that look like? So again, intelligence could come back. Yeah, I'd like to have a group online program, or once a month or twice a month, I would also like to have some one-to-one coaching, or a hybrid, whatever it may be, right? So your job is just to write it down, just to listen, okay? And you may be thinking, oh my gosh, you're like an ideal client, okay? And you may be like sitting on the edge of your seat, and you're thinking, oh, I really, I can so much help you. You may be able just to kind of at the end and say, look, this has been for research purposes only, but obviously I'm gonna, of course, whatever you said is confidential, but I'm going to use some of the information to actually go and develop my next program. Do you think you would be interested to hear more about it? Yeah? Okay, you can ask them, and maybe they'll say, oh yeah, let me know what you come up with, and because I might need it. All right, so that's fine. So, there's the sixth question. If you hired someone like me, what types of things would you expect me to offer for support? So again, there could be a level deeper. Now, realistically, when I did these questionnaires, I didn't ask all of the questions like this. I mean, it was a flow, it was a conversation. And, it's just some guidelines, okay? So don't be rigid around this. And some of the questions I didn't even have to ask anymore because they were already answered in question 3. So just be a bit flexible. Okay, so that is the market research. Okay, so that's another piece of homework. Now, you need some sort of messaging, okay? And you probably need some, well, you will probably need to do some of this foundational work that we just talked about, like your who's my ideal customer and my core values and all this before you can kind of tackle the next section. So it kind of builds on top of each other, as you probably realize now, okay? So your messaging, it's kind of a power phrase. So every time you enter a room or you do some, you do an online, like a Facebook Live, you want to know, or you want to be able to say in like one sentence what you do in a very, very powerful way, in a very confident way, okay? So that people know exactly who you are, what you do, who you help, and why, and how you help them, okay? So take those 4 questions, journal, it can be, you can journal in a couple of sentences, and then obviously we'll bring it all together into the 1 or 2 power sentences, which is your core messaging. So for example, mine is, hi, I should say there, I am Sabine Mataru, it's a bit short there. I'm a business startup and growth strategist. I love helping ambitious female entrepreneurs build an online business so that they can be fulfilled, do what they love, and create an income working from home. So I position my title, but what does that mean? What do? I love helping ambitious female entrepreneurs. Now I changed that recently because I want to attract only those that are really ambitious, that really mean business, that really want to go to the next level and are taking action. So I put that into my message. And yes, it's about building an online business so that, and now I'm talking about the benefits. How are they going to feel? What are they going to be able to achieve? They're being fulfilled. They can do, they do what they love, and they create that income working from home. Okay, so these are some of the customers' desires that I put in here from my interviews and from journaling around my ideal customers and what their problems are. Okay, so that's the messaging bit. Okay, so I think we're kind of going very well. So I think there's just 1 or 2 more things to mention in this session. So there's just a little afterthought in terms of if you are really completely new to online business, there's just a list of online business models. Or if you would like to expand at some point and you're thinking, I'm kind of stuck here with just doing one-to-one and I want to scale, but I don't necessarily have the skill set to create different programs or whatever it may be. There are different ways to supplement your income and maybe partner up with other people. So there's just a bit of a list here, and it could be hybrid as well. So it could be a mixture of things. So there's no sort of clear-cut thing like you must do this and only in this way. So there's a mixture of things, and I certainly got like affiliate and joint ventures. In my business, I have a membership subscription. I also do some freelance work, building sales funnels. I do group programs, and I'm also a coach and consultant. I used to do some physical products a little bit, and I have e-learning. So I got quite a lot here. Didn't realize that. I haven't been in app and software development. But let me just talk you through the detail in terms of what does that mean. So freelance would mean, for example, a web designer, virtual assistant, social media manager, graphic designer, copywriter, art director. So they tend to work, provide a service more like a one-to-one, doing something almost like physical, like writing a sales page or creating a website kind of thing. A coaching consultant could be business life coach, health, spiritual coaching, wellness, yeah, you name it. Group programs, so that's so I'd like a group coaching program. So rather than doing one-to-one coaching, it's like one-to-many, and going through a program together. And again, you can have a hybrid, like my mastermind actually deploys the hybrid, because I don't believe just watching a video and being in a group is sufficient enough. I also want to provide my students with some really sort of hands-on looking over their shoulder and see where they exactly are stuck. So we'll have some one-to-one time as well. Then you have apps, software development, like tools like lead pages and WordPress and all these kind of tools. So someone actually put them together, but yeah, it can be quite pricey to put those apps and software together, and you need to know what you're doing, I guess. Membership subscriptions. So this is literally someone pays on a monthly basis for a product or service. For example, my Greatness Club, it was £37 a month. So every month I would have like some training in there. We'd have some networking. I bring in an expert. So yeah, so it's like a low monthly subscription plan, basically. Digital downloads. So that's like workbooks, templates, worksheets and graphics. So if you're maybe a graphic designer and you have designed some template, for example, you could actually be selling this template more than once. Okay, so you could actually license that template. Actually, that's another thing that I've maybe would be more like a franchise. It's not in here, but one of the things, and that's probably, I'll talk about this in the digital courses, when you have an online program, then obviously you could actually just license it to other people, and so they can actually sell it on your behalf as well, or you could license it so that they can purchase like 100. So especially if you're going into like the corporate world, then the numbers are much bigger. So you could say, well, I license it to your whole company, and all, you know, you give them like 100 usernames and passwords, and it doesn't really you know, cause you any more time to create some more content, because it's all there. Whether there's one view or 100 or 1,000 views, you know, that it doesn't matter to you. It will matter in, you know, what's in your wallet. If there's 1,000 people, you know, purchasing this one digital course that you've put together once, that's just phenomenal, right? So that's why digital courses, e-learning, is really, really powerful to create something that people can always watch without you getting involved. You don't even know. That's your sort of passive kind of it's almost like passive income. I don't want to say passive income, because there's always energy, time, energy, money involved in actually getting leads and doing the sales. So there's hardly any passivity anywhere. So, or passiveness. I think the affiliate joint ventures, sponsorships, like it could be like you want to promote someone else's course, which may be complementary to what you are offering, and they may give you some sort of commission. So these are the affiliate types models. Or if sponsoring, it could be like mentioning products or services on if you have a podcast that has like many thousands of downloads, you know, maybe people who have like physical products. I guess not only physical, but I've seen it with physical products. Then, or you have like a YouTube channel, you might want to actually try out that T-shirt, and someone else, you know, is actually selling that T-shirt, and you say, hey, you know, can get this T-shirt on www. and so on, and then whatever sales you're making from that video, you'll actually get commission from the person who sells the T-shirts. Okay, so these are affiliate kind of sponsorship joint ventures. And yeah, physical products I just mentioned. You could sell all kinds of different things, I guess. That's a whole course on its own. I mean, I have done an e-commerce course. I have established my own e-commerce business. I then did some drop shipping from China. So there's a whole way of a whole other syllabus there in terms of how do you set up an online store, what is the software, like for example Shopify is one version. There's also Etsy and stuff you can do on eBay or Amazon, and how you source these products, how do you market them, and all that kind of good stuff. And that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. So let's just summarize. What is the homework for this week? So mission 1 homework. We talked about core values. So pick sort of 5 core values, okay, from that list that are most important to you, and describe your why. So hopefully you should have a notebook and a pen specifically for this business launcher. Okay, so if not, then I would advise you go and buy a notebook, because at the end of the 4 week you will have all your business, bits and pieces and your whole strategy in the one place, so you don't have bits of papers and things actually build up on top of each other. So you can always go back and see, oh, what did I write here? What are the points? And then you can sort of move that forward and put that into the next section. Ideal customer. So go through questions to start developing and identify your dream ideal customer. Then if you haven't chosen a business model yet, or you want to explore some others, of course, think about what is best for you and for your lifestyle, and what do you want to create for yourself and your brand. Now, there is no just one, as I told you, I started off with one-to-one because that was the easiest. And then as I was fully booked, I really wanted to scale, and I wanted to grab back some of my time with my family. And then I decided to do membership. A monthly membership. And then I decided I wanted to work on a more higher level with my clients. So I invited some of my one-to-one clients into group coaching, and then I got some other new clients, and formulated like a 3-month group coaching. And then I completely ditched the one-to-ones. I mean, most of it. And now if I do one-to-one, then obviously my time is very, very valuable. I haven't got much one-to-one time. And then if someone really wants that, then obviously the price will reflect that. You want to do the interviews, so start to schedule them now and do them over the next 4 weeks. So maybe I'm thinking about a price. Those that have done it could have an extra bonus price. I have to think about that, but pick 15 people. How do you pick those people? You could you could just message people that you've worked before, or you know them, maybe your kind of ideal clients, or you had contact with them before. Or if you are in a Facebook group, you might want to just put like a neat kind of post together. I had this post, like a begging little girl saying, help please. And then I just had a little post saying, yeah, I'm doing some market research. We're looking for a few people who wouldn't mind hopping on a very brief call with me, and please comment below. And then I would sort of get in touch with those people. And you'd have to actually post that more than once, by the way. So it's not like you get hundreds of responses. Some people just don't see it. So you could do that on your own timeline, or in a group as well, or direct reach out. Then you want to schedule your interviews, potentially get something like Calendly or Acuity as well to set up your diary so people can actually book a slot. And you want to think about your brand colors, your brand feel. Maybe go back to the color charts and look at your tone of voice. And then define your power message, and practice also saying it out loud, because that's a very important part. Because once you as I said, you need to know this by heart. It needs to feel aligned. It needs to be very powerful, and it needs to be very clear. So hopefully, when you say it out loud, it's like a prayer for you. So every time you show up and someone just asks you, so what do? You have an answer, okay? Creating a website, a landing page, it's not necessary. It's probably quite a lot for mission 1 to already thinking about that, but potentially think about your which area do you want to go to? What do you want to develop? Now, what I would say, if you want to create a sales funnel, which we'll talk a bit more next week in terms of just creating one sales page for the one product, and you just want to really funnel in exactly people into just selling this one thing, then it's better to actually create something outside of a web page. Because imagine someone lands on your website, unless you have like a really strong sort of image right in front of you on a homepage, or like a pop-up or something, nobody's really gonna kind of give their email address or buy something. It's very hard to actually get them to go and click onto your page where you have your services. I mean, it's kind of scientifically proven where people are going, unless you have really grabbing message on the homepage. It's just too busy. And I mean, think about for yourself, when you go onto somebody's homepage, you're not necessarily going to buy something from them straight away. However, if they offer you something for free, like a checklist that you really need, then you might want to put in your email address, and then it's going to come into your inbox. But then after that, putting in your email address, you actually land on another page which specifically talks about that one solution that is complementary to the checklist and is maybe I don't know, it could be a group program or a video course, whatever it may be, and it's specific to us. Then you got the attention of these people, and they might even watch your video. I mean, you have like a little video there and say, hey, your checklist is on the way, already freebie. But before you go, I just want to tell you that, I have this special offer for you. This is what I do, and this is how I can help you, blah, blah, blah. So this is something we want to think about in terms of a strategy and how to actually capture people rather than them sort of just loosely running around on your website. And that's why I'm not really promoting a fully blown web page when you get started. Website is great. I mean, I use it for blogging, and you can share, of course, your links when you're writing a blog. It's great for, testimonials. It's great for people want to see what you do and who you are and sort of get a bit of a feel. And I guess if you have a presence, then they will trust you when you have a fully blown website, or they trust you a bit more, I guess. And maybe if you're thinking about, getting some photos done, then you may want to just think about doing a brand photo shoot and maybe contacting some photographers. And of course, you want to create some ideas for this photo shoot. So you can always use Pinterest boards with these ideas in terms of look and feel. But again, link it back to your brand colors, to your messaging, to your core values, and really show in your pictures, who you are, and sort of, if you're an outdoorsy person, then you don't want to have an indoor photo shoot, and you want to wear the kind of colors that show your brand, and you want to be in those pictures the way you want to be seen in your business and what you do. So that is all for today. So thank you very much, and I'm going to stop the recording.